And also, back and forth related to citizenship education is, what is the impact of school supply, in terms of the selected subject matter and of the arrangement of pedagogical relations and situations by the professionals on the personal identity construction, including the religious worldview identity development of students. This is my core question. I'm dealing with citizenship education and the relation of worldview, religion, and citizenship education from this particular pedagogical stance. So if schools want to foster and have flourished the personal identity construction and development of students, how are they doing that? Are they taking up this responsibility? Yes or no? I just said my preferential term is worldview. Worldview is the system, to put it briefly, you have written on that extensively in a published paper in the May issue of the Journal of Religious Education. Very good journal. Use that journal I'm in the board of the journal, so it's, but it's really something. It's an international interfaith journal, and I think we are moving to the inter-worldview kind of type of journal we want to be, under the enthusiastic leadership of Jack Seymour. Worldview is the system which is always subjected to changes of implicit and explicit views, feelings, and attitudes in relation to human life. In short, a worldview is the way one looks at life, one acts in life, one reflects on life, and one wants to legitimize the choices and the actions one is taking. I think taking worldview as a core issue and have religion or religions as an inclusive term of that, to use it, circles of Euler, you have worldview, and inside that you have the particular kind of religions. So it can avoid strong secularist approaches, just the cliteur stance out of the private and the social domain with the religions and worldviews, but can also be a signpost to warn us, and especially people who have an exclusive claim. Only our particular Protestant school and our particular worldview or religion is the real one, and everyone should commit to that, and that's what it is. And I really like to dialogue with you, but on my conditions. If you go along with me with my absolute religious truth. So I think worldview is broad. It's pedagogically speaking, it's an inclusive term. So every pupil can develop a worldview. It might be a religious one, it can be also a non-religious one. But I don't like the term non-religious, because then religion is the Archimedean point. And then you say, oh, you are not non-religious. No, you have another worldview. It might be another religious worldview. So I'm following, unfortunately, the late Terence McLaughlin, and he made a distinction between maximal and minimal citizenship education. I'm in favor of the maximal citizenship education. So it's an emphasis on active learning and inclusion, interactivity that is values-based and process-led, and allowing students to develop and articulate their own views and to engage in debate. This is more or less my framing, but the idea is if we want to have a maximal and not a minimal one, so then we follow this road. And worldview education is enabling students to develop their own point of view in matters of religion and worldview in the context of plurality via encounter and dialogue. So I prefer the ugly term worldview citizen education or religious citizenship education, but I stick to the worldview, and you understand why I do that. So it's embracing concept of identity formation, edification, Bildung. It's including religion and worldview education, including citizenship education, and religion and worldview education are a component and a very important aspect, an integral aspect of citizenship education. And the format in dealing with that is not only teaching and learning about, there's nothing wrong with teaching and learning about, but pedagogically speaking, fostering the identity formation of the student, it needs also to go and to lead to the way of teaching and learning about and from. So in Germany, Aneignung, so the appropriation of the student to build up its own worldview, might be a religious one or another worldview. It's fine. So this is why I'm in favor of this conception. It's a very normative one. I know. Here we have some. I just can briefly, because I need to keep on time here. Core questions for state and denominational schools. In a minute I will say that I'm in favor of what I will call all schools special and corporation schools. But as long as we have state schools and denominational schools in the dual system, it's very hard to change the dual system, although for more than 50 years my plea is we should get rid of the dual system. Freedom of education, yes. Relative autonomy of the schools, yes. But the dual system is hindering state schools to actively deal with worldview and religions. So we use the terms passive neutrality and active plurality. Most of the state schools were passive neutral. You're welcome. You're a Hindu, you're a Muslim, you're a humanist, you're a Christian. But if you don't do anything of that, what you have in your luggage and bringing it with you to the school. So active plurality is saying, pedagogically, how are we going to deal with that in the state's public school? And are we willing to deal with that? And in what way? So citizenship education, for me, it was a gift from heaven, as you can understand. Because now, 2006, also the religious worldview component should be part and parcel of citizenship education. State schools, how are you dealing with that? Only teaching and learning about, or also teaching and learning from? In this particular context of the state school. Denominational schools, another question. Is religious worldview citizenship education compatible with closed, more or less segregated mono-religious schools? Being Christian schools, because the most closed schools are not Islamic schools in the Netherlands. These are the very orthodox Christian Protestant schools. How are you going to deal with citizenship education? So this is really an interesting point here. My favorite is corporation schools. So getting rid of the dual system. And so promising practice of schools are already working together at this particular moment. The Broad School in Amsterdam Southeast, it's a cooperation school between state school, an Islamic school, and a Christian school. It's really interesting what is going on there. I've written on that together with Ina ter Oudest on it. For me, this is, if you don't have a special, all schools special, then in all schools, from an interfaith, inter-worldview perspective, the education should be given for. This is a nice face moving in that direction. And this is practical. And what you see here, that's all the criteria for citizenship education and dealing with the identity of the school as well as with the religion and worldview of the school is practiced here. This is not paradise, understand me quite right. But this is a way people in one of the very tenseful districts in Amsterdam Southeast, to bring kids from different religious and worldview backgrounds together and have a school who is back and forth related to the environment. And what they realized there is that in the neighborhood, then they had in former times separate schools, and now the schools are built together, and they have and they have a central community space, and at least 28 to 30% of the curriculum is joint curriculum. This is really how a school can work, and conservatoria, music organizations, bands, the personnel of one of the bands, I don't want to mention the name here, but these persons are coming during the lunch break and they help kids to read and to do mathematics, etc., etc. They don't want to name that, but it's true. So this is a broad school in terms of DE, and DE are particular parts of Amsterdam. The DE